They say you never really know someone until you break up with them. I thought I knew Dylan Price, his smirk, his playlists, even how he'd fake laugh at my terrible cooking. But after our breakup 6 months ago, I realized the only thing he was consistent about was lying. So, yeah, I moved on. New apartment, new job at Love Loop, a dating app that pretends to be about love but really runs on caffeine and push notifications. My role was UX designer, translating human messiness into clean buttons and soft gradients. I kept things quiet at work. No drama, no dates, no emotional downloads in the break room. My best friend Natalie kept trying to drag me out of my bubble. "Come on, Amelia," she said one Friday night, leaning across her cubicle with a grin. "You design a dating app and refuse to date? That's like being a chef who eats cereal." I laughed. "Cereal's predictable. Men aren't." She smirked. "So predictable is your type now?" Before I could reply, her eyes widened at her phone. Speaking of predictable, you might want to see this." She slid her phone toward me. On the screen, Dylan's face. Smiling, holding a coffee cup, looking like the charming jerk he'd always been. The profile name read Dylan_P, age 30, location, Chicago. "Okay, and?" I asked. Natalie scrolled down and said, "Read the bio. Still haunted by an ex who can't move on. If she messages you pretending to be me, block her." My throat went dry. "What the hell?" "Yeah," she said softly. "He's implying you're stalking him?" The next line hit harder. "If you see an Amelia Williams pop up, that's her. She won't stop." I stared at the screen, frozen between fury and disbelief. That's fake. Dylan would never, wouldn't he?" Natalie said gently. She was right. Dylan was manipulative enough to do this. But why now? Why after 6 months? That night, I couldn't sleep. I paced the apartment, refreshing the profile, half expecting it to vanish. It didn't. Instead, new photos appeared, ones Dylan didn't even have. A selfie he took in my old kitchen. A dog he never owned. And then, the messages started. By Monday morning, 2 coworkers had already shown me funny screenshots of my ex talking about me. The fake Dylan was messaging random women, saying things like, "She's obsessed with me. She even helped build this app so she could monitor me." I laughed it off in the break room, pretending I didn't care. Inside, I was shaking. Around 4 p.m., I got a ping from HR. Subject: concern regarding personal conduct on platform. I walked into the glass-walled office, where Jason, our marketing lead, and HR rep sat like a tag team of discomfort. "Amelia," Jason began, rubbing the back of his neck. "Some screenshots are circulating. Apparently, you were mentioned on a profile that's causing confusion." "Confusion?" I said. "Try defamation." The HR rep slid a printout across the table. There it was, the fake profile, my name, and the caption, "She can't stand that I moved on." I clenched my fists under the table. That's not Dylan. Someone's using his face. That's a catfish account. Jason frowned. "Do you know who might do something like that?" "No," I lied. Because deep down, I already had a name floating in my mind. Zoe. My old roommate, my friend-turned-stranger. She'd dated Dylan's friend, always envied my unstable relationship. When Dylan and I broke up, she said, "Guess he finally saw through your walls." The last time we spoke, she posted a selfie captioned, "Some people are made to watch others win." That night, as I scrolled through her feed, one of her behind-the-scenes stories showed something odd, a screenshot layout from a phone, same dating app UI I designed. She was using my work. A chill ran through me. Someone had created a fake Dylan profile to destroy me, and it wasn't Dylan. It was Zoe. I looked at her smiling face on Instagram, her 1,000 likes, her filtered perfection, and I whispered, You messed with the wrong designer. By Tuesday morning, the fake profile wasn't just a rumor, it was a wildfire. Someone had posted a thread on Reddit, "Designer at Loveloop makes fake ex profiles to test her app." It had screenshots, comments, even a blurred image of my employee badge. Half the replies were memes, the other half were vultures picking at my name. I stared at my screen, pulse hammering in my ears. Natalie came up behind me, whispered, "You saw it too?"
Yeah,
I said hoarsely. She pulled her chair beside mine, scanning the thread. "This is targeted. Whoever's behind this knows exactly what to leak." I nodded. The timing, the screenshots. It's like they're one step ahead. Jason appeared at my cubicle, holding a paper cup of coffee I didn't ask for. "Hey, Amelia." Quick word. I followed him into the small conference room. He closed the door. "Look, this isn't official HR," he said carefully, "but management's worried. Our trust metrics tanked this morning. People think our safety features don't work if one of our own employees is part of a scandal." I laughed bitterly. "You think I made a fake account of my ex? Why would I even?" "I don't," he said quickly. "But perception matters. If you can get ahead of it, maybe I don't lose my job." I cut in. Jason's silence was answer enough. I walked home that night through cold wind, my mind replaying every humiliating whisper. Someone had taken my worst breakup and weaponized it. When I reached my apartment, I poured wine straight from the bottle, pulled up my laptop, and started tracing the digital fingerprints. The screenshots had artifacts, tiny inconsistencies in the font rendering. I knew that pattern. It came from our Loveloop beta interface, a version only employees and approved testers could access. I messaged Natalie, "Amelia, I think the screenshots came from an internal build." Natalie, "That narrows it down." Amelia, "Only devs and marketing have that access." Natalie, "Zoe used to be in marketing, right?" I stopped typing. Used to be. Before she left, Zoe had bragged about keeping some design templates for her influencer side gigs. I'd thought she meant style guides. I opened her Instagram again, her latest post was an ad for a new perfume. And in the reflection of the bottle, I could see it, her monitor, the Loveloop beta interface, open on her desktop. Proof. My stomach turned. I wasn't just dealing with jealousy. This was calculated. The next day, Dylan called me for the first time since the breakup. "Hey, I saw that fake profile thing," he said. "You didn't make it, right?" "Wow," I said flatly. "Touching that you even had to ask." "Amelia, come on. People are messaging me, saying I'm catfishing women. You know how bad that looks for my business?" "Your business?" I snapped. "I'm the one being dragged through the mud." He sighed. "Look, just tell whoever's behind it to stop. If it's one of your little hacker friends." I hung up before he finished. Typical Dylan, still assuming the world revolved around him. By Thursday, HR suspended my app permissions, pending investigation. I was officially cut off from the system I built. That night, I sat in my dim apartment, walls littered with printed screenshots, arrows connecting metadata, timestamps, and usernames. It looked obsessive, and maybe it was. Natalie came over with takeout. "You look like a conspiracy theorist," she said softly. "I have to prove it's her," I muttered. "If I go to HR without evidence, they'll just think I'm desperate." "Then what's your plan?" I leaned back, staring at Zoe's smiling face on my corkboard. "She wants to ruin me online. Fine. But if she's playing digital? I'll beat her at digital." Natalie blinked. "Meaning?" "Meaning I'll give her a reason to expose herself." 2 days later. I created a fake Instagram account, @brandcollab_agency. Polished logo, fake contact email, even a link to a mock website. Then I messaged Zoe. "Hey, Zoe. We're recruiting micro-influencers for an upcoming dating app launch. $2,500 campaign budget. Interested? Her reply came within 5 minutes. Absolutely. Sounds amazing. What are the deliverables? I smiled. Hook. Line. Bait. I asked her to fill out a short campaign form that required linking her tech portfolio or previous collaborations. When she submitted, I traced her upload metadata. IP, Love Loop internal network proxy. She hadn't even bothered to mask it. I sat there for a long time, heart racing. It was her. 100%. Natalie texted me, "You got her?" Amelia, "Oh, I got her." Natalie, "So, what's next?" Amelia, "I'm not going to expose her online." Natalie, "You're not." Amelia, "No. I'm going to do it live. In front of everyone." Natalie's typing dots flickered, then, "Amelia, whatever you're planning, make it count." "Oh," I whispered, staring at Zoe's smiling face on her page. "It will." By Monday morning, I was calm, too calm. That's when Natalie knew I was up to something. She looked at me over her coffee. "You're smiling like a Bond villain." "Just thinking," I said, tapping my keyboard. "About how easily people trust what they see online." Her eyebrow arched. "What are you planning, Amelia?" I turned my screen so she could see a diagram, boxes, arrows, lines connecting usernames and file hashes. Digital fingerprints. Everyone leaves one. Even Zoe. "Please tell me you're not hacking." "Not hacking," I said with a grin. "Designing." For the next week, I worked quietly from home. Officially, I was on administrative leave. Unofficially, I was rewriting part of Love Loop's test environment, the internal sandbox used for feature demos. It wasn't illegal. Technically. I duplicated the code structure of Zoe's fake Dylan profile, the same wording, the same creepy bio, and tagged every image with invisible watermarks that would reveal the IP address when opened. Then I waited. Zoe's life, according to her feed, was perfect. She posted about rising above negativity and manifesting peace. Irony looked good on her. I commented from a burner account, "Love your work with the new dating app campaign." 10 minutes later, she replied publicly, "Thanks babe. Excited for the event next week."
Mwah.
Bingo. The event. Love Loop's annual relaunch night, press, influencers, investors, all in one room. Jason would be hosting the presentation. And Zoe, being friends with him, would be there. That's where I'd do it. 2 nights before the event, I called Natalie over. She sat cross-legged on my couch, sipping wine, watching me drag folders across my laptop screen. "You're really gonna do this at the company event?" "Not just the event," I said. "On stage. Live demo. The moment Jason pulls up the test user profiles, Zoe's handiwork will flash on the big screen." "Amelia," she said slowly. "That's savage." I looked up at her. "Justice served with a twist, right?" She exhaled. "You know, for someone who designs soft pastel buttons, you're terrifying." "I design trust," I corrected softly. And Zoe broke it. That night, I built the trap. I created 3 new test profiles. Fake Dylan, same name, same photos Zoe used. Fake Zoe, with slight tweaks in tone, just enough for pattern recognition. Control account is blank, to ensure the system logs IP origins accurately. I embedded one trigger line in Fake Dylan's bio, "Still haunted by an ex who can't move on." When opened from Zoe's device or network, the metadata would tag her unique session ID. When opened on stage, I'd have the record live. I smiled at the code. "You wanted to make me the ghost," I murmured. "But I'm haunting you now." The day before the event, Jason texted. "Hey, glad you're coming tomorrow. You should totally say hi to Zoe. She's been asking about you. My thumbs hovered over the reply. Can't wait. Event day. I wore black. Not mourning, precision. My badge still worked at the venue entrance, which was either divine timing or Jason forgetting to revoke it. Natalie met me at the back of the hall. You sure about this? I nodded. By tomorrow, she won't have an online presence left to hide behind. Jason stepped on stage, mic in hand, the big LED screen glowing behind him. Welcome to Love Loop relaunch night. Tonight, we're showing the world safer, smarter dating. He gestured to the monitor. Let's start with a few live user examples from our beta group. My heart thudded. There it was, the test dashboard I'd seeded. He clicked fake Dylan's profile first. The crowd chuckled at the bio. Jason laughed awkwardly. Clearly, someone's got baggage. Then, the line of code I wrote lit up on my screen backstage. User session detected, Zoe_Marshall at guest Wi-Fi. My lips curved. Gotcha. I looked across the room. Zoe stood near the stage, wine in hand, face pale as she saw the profile appear, her profile, her words, her digital fingerprints burned into it. Tomorrow, the exposure would be complete. But tonight, I was just getting started. The night of the relaunch felt like electricity under my skin, sharp, humming, dangerous. The crowd buzzed inside the glass atrium of Love Loop HQ, lights, champagne, the smell of ambition and perfume. I stood near the back, hidden behind the catering table, watching people take selfies with the company's neon heart logo. Somewhere in the crowd, Zoe was laughing. Natalie whispered beside me, "You look way too calm for someone about to commit social murder." I'm just matching the aesthetic, I said, sipping water instead of champagne. Cold and filtered. She gave me a look. Just, promise me this won't backfire? I smiled faintly. It can't. Every line of code is time-stamped. Every screenshot is traceable. I didn't just build a trap. I built a confession booth. On stage, Jason strutted like a talk show host. Our app is evolving. Smarter matches, tighter security, cleaner interface. He winked at the crowd. And no more catfishing, unless someone's really committed. Laughter rippled through the audience. Zoe clinked glasses with a tech blogger nearby. Her dress shimmered under the lights, sequins, and arrogance. I watched her watch Jason. Their chemistry was obvious. Perfect. Because Jason was my variable. He had no idea that I'd rerouted his demo queue to include the fake Dylan and a fake Zoe app profiles back to back. And when he opened them, the embedded metadata would paint the real story for everyone to see. Hours earlier, I'd visited Dylan. He opened the door half-dressed, same cologne, same ego. Wow. Amelia. Didn't think I'd see you again. I came to thank you, I said smoothly. For what? For teaching me how to spot liars. He smirked, confused but intrigued. You sure you're okay? I'm great, I said, pulling a small USB stick from my purse. By tomorrow, your name's going to be trending again. But don't worry, it won't be about you this time. He frowned. What's that supposed to mean? I smiled, stepping closer. It means stay offline tomorrow. Trust me. Now, standing in that glittering crowd, I could almost feel the tension building, invisible but growing, like a current beneath the floor. The giant screen flickered as Jason moved to the demo profiles section. This part's always fun, he said. We run live examples from our user testing sandbox to show how real-time safety filters work. Zoe leaned forward eagerly. She didn't know I'd synced the test environment to the live feed, or that the moment he clicked next, her digital fingerprints would surface like oil on water. Jason opened the first test, fake Dylan. The room murmured. Same bio, same photos. People laughed awkwardly. Then, the second test, fake Zoe. A hush fell. The screen displayed messages, conversations between fake Dylan and fake Zoe, complete with timestamps and the geolocation data I'd layered in. On the bottom corner, the live metadata appeared in faint gray text. Created by Zia Marshall, internal tester ID 4883. Jason frowned. This isn't supposed to. Zoe's wine glass slipped from her hand, shattering. Turn it off, she snapped. The audience turned toward her. Phones lifted. Whispering spread like smoke. Jason blinked. Wait. Zoe, you worked on these profiles? She stammered. No, that's fake. But the system wasn't done. The final file loaded automatically, a video montage of the fake messages being posted from her IP, every lie she crafted, every image she used of Dylan and me. Her voice echoed faintly from one of the recordings. She'll never recover from this. Gasps rippled through the crowd. I stepped forward, the spotlight catching me for the first time. You're right, I said clearly. I didn't recover. I rebuilt. Jason stared, realization dawning. Amelia, you set this up? I nodded once. To show what your security features missed. To show how easily someone inside your circle can weaponize trust. The room went silent except for the sound of Zoe's breathing, sharp, ragged. She lunged toward the stage. You ruined me. I met her eyes, steady. No. You did. Security stepped in before she could reach me. As they escorted her out, Jason turned to me, pale. This could tank us, Amelia. The press saw everything. I looked up at the massive screen, where the phrase catfish flagged, internal breach detected blinked in red. Or, I said quietly, it could save us. Because within minutes, social media was ablaze, #LoveLoop exposes catfish trending at number 3. People weren't mocking the company. They were praising it for transparency. Jason stared in disbelief. You planned that? I smirked. UX design, Jason. It's all about user experience. That night, after the crowd dispersed and the news crews left, I stood on the empty stage, lights dimmed, cables coiled on the floor. Natalie walked up, shaking her head. You know, I thought you'd go nuclear. But that was elegant. I looked toward the dark exit where Zoe had been dragged out. Elegance hurts more when it's quiet. She smiled faintly. What now? Now? I said, shutting my laptop. Now we wait. Tomorrow, their profiles die. Morning light always carries a certain arrogance after destruction. It spills into rooms that don't deserve brightness, across shattered glass, over silent phones, into inboxes full of regret. Mine was one of them. When I opened my laptop, the numbers were already impossible to ignore. #LoveLoop exposes catfish, #Zoe Marshall, #digital deception. 3 hashtags, 500,000 mentions, one truth unraveling in real time. Natalie's text buzzed, turn on channel 9. She's crying. I did. Zoe was sitting under studio lights, eyes red, voice trembling, claiming she was framed. She blamed an internal hacker, accused the company of exploiting her. Jason was seated beside her, tight smile, hands folded, trying to contain a PR meltdown. But his eyes told another story. He knew. By noon, the board had already launched an internal investigation. The press demanded transparency. Investors wanted blood. And me? I just sat by my window, sipping coffee, watching the world burn without lifting a finger. Every post Zoe deleted reappeared within minutes, archived, mirrored, documented. Every denial only deepened her exposure. By afternoon, her LinkedIn vanished. Then her Instagram. Then, mercifully, her confidence. Natalie called, breathless. You saw it? Jason cut her off. He told the board she acted alone. I smiled faintly. Damage control always starts with a sacrifice. And you, she asked. Where do you stand in all this? In the shadows, I said. Where I belong. But the universe isn't kind to clean endings. That evening, a message popped into my inbox from an unfamiliar account. Subject, you won. Body, meet me. Same cafe, 8 p.m. No press. Just truth. Z. Natalie's warning echoed in my head, don't let her near you. I went anyway. The cafe was nearly empty. Rain tapped on the glass like impatient fingers. Zoe sat by the window, wrapped in a gray coat, makeup washed away, humanity restored, too late. When she looked up, her voice was small. You destroyed me. I sat opposite her. No. I revealed you. Her laugh cracked. You think people care about truth? They just want a villain. And you gave them one. Maybe, I said. But you wrote the script. She leaned in, eyes dark. You were supposed to be my friend. I was, I said quietly. Until you used my trust as your content. We sat in silence. The rain grew louder. Finally, she whispered, I didn't do it for him. I frowned. Then why? For you, she said. Because I wanted your life. Your calm. Your control. You build things, Amelia. I just perform. The confession hung in the air, fragile and toxic. I stood. You should go offline for a while. Rebuild. Find something real. Her eyes lifted, haunted. You think this ends here? It does for me. I left her there, alone with the rain and her reflection. 2 days later, Jason called. The board's offering you a promotion, he said. Chief Ethics Officer. Apparently, integrity sells well this week. I almost laughed. Ethics. That's rich. He hesitated. You did what no audit ever could. You exposed the rot. And you profited, I said. He didn't deny it. We're survivors, Amelia. That's what matters. When I hung up, I realized survival isn't always victory. It's just the ability to keep breathing while others drown. That night, I opened Love Loop for the first time in months. New interface. New rules. New tagline, because authenticity deserves love. I scrolled past endless faces, filtered smiles, curated vulnerability, until I reached one that made me pause. Dylan. Updated profile. New bio, learning honesty the hard way. I didn't swipe. I just stared at the screen, remembering how easily affection turns into ammunition. Then I deleted the app. Some wars don't need victors. Only survivors. Weeks later, a new notification appeared on my phone, not from Love Loop, but from a small forum I used to prototype social tools. A new account had joined. Username, Mirror Ghost. Their bio read, authenticity is overrated. I stared at the name for a long time, a chill crawling up my spine. Zoe wasn't gone. She'd just changed her platform. When you burn someone smart, they don't vanish, they learn your fire. 2 months had passed. My life looked stable again, morning runs, coffee meetings, ethics briefings. On paper, I was the woman who'd turned a scandal into reform. But at night, when the office was quiet, I could feel her breathing in the code. Mirror Ghost wasn't just a troll. She was surgical. Anonymous reports started flooding my inbox, claims of new fake profiles, identity leaks, internal screenshots from Love Loop's test servers. Someone was rebuilding what I'd destroyed, smarter this time, decentralized. And the code, the phrasing in those messages, they felt like her. Zoe. Natalie dropped by my office one evening, carrying Thai takeout and concern. You've been doom scrolling the forums again, she said, setting down the food. I didn't deny it. She's back. Natalie froze. You can't prove that. I don't need to. She's leaving fingerprints, digital, linguistic, behavioral. Every pattern screams her. Amelia, she sighed, you got your justice. Don't let her live rent-free now. But it wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about infection, the kind that spreads quietly until everyone believes the lie again. That weekend, I logged into a sandbox server. Miraghost had built an entire alternate network using leaked LoveLoop APIs, a shadow app called TrueLoop. It marketed itself as the honest dating platform. Irony never dies, it just rebrands. Every fake profile I clicked had Zoe's touch, curated empathy, soft lighting, pain designed for clicks. And at the center of it all, a flagship user named Ava Rain, her digital resurrection. The bio said, sometimes truth deserves a mask. I could have reported it to Jason. Instead, I decided to end it myself. I created a profile under my real name. Amelia Williams. Bio, sometimes lies deserve exposure. Within 24 hours, Ava Rain matched with me. Her first message appeared instantly, you always come back. I replied, you never really left. We spoke for hours, two ghosts orbiting each other through text. Her words were calm, elegant, deliberate. She wasn't trying to hide anymore. Then she wrote, let's give them a finale. Everyone's watching anyway. The following week, LoveLoop hosted a digital safety summit, streamed live, full of corporate sincerity and panels about rebuilding user trust. I was the keynote speaker. As I walked on stage, I saw the comment feed scrolling beside the stream. Thousands of users. Hundreds of bot accounts. Dozens tagged #TrueLoop. She was here. I began my talk, calm, precise, rehearsed. Authenticity, I said, isn't about exposure. It's about consent. The choice to show who we are, not to be unmasked by someone else. Behind me, the screen flickered. Then, chaos. A live feed appeared, hijacking the presentation, TrueLoop's dashboard, user data scrolling, Ava Rain's profile expanding in real time. The audience gasped. Jason shouted from the wings. And then, the overlay switched to Miraghost's login. Her voice came through the speakers, distorted but familiar. You can't destroy the mirror, Amelia. You only break yourself in it. I stared straight into the lens. You should have stayed invisible. I hit enter. My security script, the one she taught me years ago, deployed across the stream. Every file, every alias, every trace of TrueLoop folded into nothing. Ava Rain disappeared mid-sentence. Her feed went black. The audience thought it was part of the demo. Jason looked terrified. I just smiled. Later that night, I received one last message, you win again. But mirrors always crack both ways. Then her account deleted itself. Weeks passed. The scandal faded, the company recovered, and the world moved on. But some nights, when my phone buzzes for no reason, I still half expect to see her name. Not because I fear her, but because I understand her. We were two sides of the same lie, women learning the hard way that power online is never about love, it's about control. And hers died the moment I stopped needing to prove anything. Their profile died. And so did my mercy. Some people play games for love. Others play them for control. But when they played with me, I made sure the ending hit delete. Their profile died, and so did my mercy. If you think justice like this is savage, wait until you hear the next one. This is savage revenge. Hit that like button, share it with someone who loves a good twist. And subscribe, because justice always finds its voice.